And we should be live. Okay. We're joined by Lukas today over here at the Fantasy Stock Exchange. And yeah, just giving you guys the rundown. Sunday noon live streams as always. Bush, Lukas, any of you have anything to say right now?
Yeah, I mean, Sunday noon when Danny actually wakes up for noon.
Hey, settle down, okay? I woke up even though I was celebrating with the boys for the 21st. So you got to give that some credit.
Yeah, facts.
Yeah, I'm proud of you. I didn't think it was going to happen, to be honest.
Bro,
Yeah.
I actually woke up at like 10. I woke up at it might have been earlier, to be honest. I think I woke up at like 8:30 or 9, and then I just kept setting like ongoing alarms because I'm like, okay, you know what? I still have a couple hours, so I'll chill for a bit. But
I made some changes to my rookie ranks. I don't know if you guys saw.
I didn't.
So the changes that I made were
More wide receiver 4.
So I moved Justin Fields to QB3 over.
Oh
Trey
yeah,
Lance.
I saw that.
And I moved Trey Lance down in the top 12 or whatever. I moved Trey Lance from 5 to 9. And I moved Jamar Chase, Javonte Williams, and Devonta Smith all above Trey Lance.
That's fair. Let me see how I currently have it. Here.
It's like as I dig into Trey Lance more, the more I think like he has some serious red flags that are like I can't put him like, and it's not that I don't like him as a prospect, I do, but I can't put him at the level that I have Justin Fields, Zach Wilson, and Trevor Lawrence, because those guys just are much safer in my opinion. And I also think Trey Lance is the 4th QB off the board. It's still going to be like high first round draft capital, but obviously if he goes to San Francisco, I'll change this around. But if he goes to like Detroit at like 7 or something, he's probably going to stay down there.
Yeah, bro. Real quick though, holy fuck, man! Like I watched a couple more games of Zach Wilson. That guy's fucking so much fun.
Yeah,
so much fun. And it's like, dang. But anyways, let's get into a couple.
Lamar has literally not missed a live stream yet. Appreciate it.
I think he's like been first in like the last 4.
Yeah, literally.
Elite. Got the boy Matt in here as well. Yo. What's up? Got the Blues represented in the PFP. Let me see if I can find, because I ended up making adjustments on my grades for because remember I was watching Lance and Wilson, right?
Sure.
Let me see what I ended up with, because I was making grades on the fly after the first 3 games, and I watched a couple more each. So if I can find where I left that fucking thing, that'd be great.
Did that mess up the consensus? Not mess up. Did that move around the consensus at all? I don't remember what it was before for us.
Me moving my rookie ranks around?
Yeah, actually, it looks like Lance is at our 6th consensus now. I don't remember if he was higher now.
He might have been 6 before. I'm not sure. Did you have him QB3 or QB4, Danny?
4.
Okay, so
he's my 2. So.
Oh, he's your QB2. Okay.
Yeah, I mean, he's my 2nd overall pick. That's why he's so high.
Yeah, okay, so he's your Zach Wilson.
Yeah, pretty much. And I have Wilson 3.
I understand it from a fantasy perspective. Like the guy's rushing production is enough to put him QB. Like that alone is enough for someone to say if he's like, oh yeah, he's my QB2. It's like it's probably because of the rushing. Like he has the ability to be a 6, 7, 800 yard rusher in the NFL as a quarterback.
Yeah. I just don't know if he's going to start. He'd be the one quarterback that I could easily see not starting the first 5 or 6
games. It all
games.
depends where he goes, honestly. If he goes, like I could see him going to Carolina at 7. I always forget where Detroit and Carolina pick. It's always
7, 8. Broncos and 9. Yeah.
It wouldn't surprise me if they like rolled with Teddy and Jared Goff for like the first 10 weeks of the season or something like that, and then put him in after that, because like Trey Lance definitely, like as a 1-year starter at an FCS school, this transition to the pro game is going to be steep.
Yeah, no, I agree.
In the Discord here.
I'm trying to look at other big ranges we have for these players.
Plus, part of me too just wanted to move Jamar Chase up, because I just think Jamar Chase is that good.
So you moved him to where?
I moved him to
6 overall.
Yeah.
And he's our 8 consensus. Because I
wouldn't be surprised if anyone wanted to take him as high as 3 or 4.
That's fair.
Like if you don't need quarterbacks, that eliminates like the top 3, right? Like,
but where would he land? Where, like hypothetically, I mean, do you think he makes it past the Falcons?
I don't think he makes it past the Eagles, probably.
Yeah, okay.
And
Just pull up the draft order.
we said this about CeeDee Lamb and Jerry Jeudy last year that we didn't think they would fall that much, and both of them fell. I think I would have taken the under on, like, if you told me Jerry Jeudy was going to go 15 and CeeDee Lamb was going to go 17, I would have told you they would have gone both higher than that. So
yeah, well, with
there's
a
a chance that Chase and Smith and Waddle go a little lower than we're anticipating, because right now it seems like most people have, like, I've seen mock drafts where all three of them are in the top 7.
Also, real quick, you mentioned okay, so right now, going through my top 12, I have Lawrence, Harris, Etienne, Fields, Wilson, Lance, Chase or Smith, Chase, Williams, and then Pitts, Waddle, Bateman rounding out the top 12.
Yeah,
And
I
again,
also wanted to move Javonte Williams up too.
Same. It's so hard though. Like, I want to move him up.
It's so difficult. I can't.
I feel like you can't though. Like I don't know.
No, you can't. You can't.
He's 9
I
right now.
have him at 7. I can't put him behind. I can't put him ahead of Chase and Fields. Like, I just can't do it. Even though he's a running back and his position is, like, more important theoretically for, like, fantasy, I still can't put him ahead of Jamar Chase, because I think Jamar Chase is going to be like a better version of what DJ Moore was coming out. Like,
Yeah,
I get it. I still think Smith is better, but I have him behind Smith and Chase right now, which is gets him at
Smith
9.
at 8 and Williams at 7.
Okay, so I have again Smith 7, Chase 8, Williams 9. Dynasty guy never stops. You already know it, Matt.
You see the reports from Exos?
What? Oh,
Travis Etienne's weight.
Is it bad?
what is it right now? Like 210?
People think it's like 215.
That's good.
Yeah.
That's good, bro. Did you see freaking Puka Williams 4 reps?
Bro, Puka Williams ran a 4.38 and his weight adjusted speed score was still under 100. I calculate. You know how to calculate it? Because I actually figured it out. I looked it up how you calculate it.
It's on Player Profiler.
It actually doesn't say anymore. It used to say, like, directly on the thing, but I looked it up and Player Profiler did link it somewhere, and it basically, you multiply their 40 time by 4 and then put that as, like, their denominator, and then the numerator is their weight times 200. So if you take 175, which is Puka Williams' weight, times 200 divided by 4.38 times 4, or sorry, to the power of 4, not times 4.
Yeah.
And then it's like, that's what you get is weight adjusted speed score, and it was like 95.1 for a guy that ran a 4.38. So, like, if for reference, if Travis Etienne runs a 4.38, which I think is very possible, his weight adjusted speed score would be like 117, and that's if he weighs like 206.
By the way, this may sound crazy. I understand that. But, bro, if Eli Moore gets a better landing spot than Rashod Bateman, I wouldn't be shocked if he moved ahead of him in my ranks.
No one loves Elijah Moore as much as me, but I don't think the way that Rashod Bateman
what is your, like, expected draft? Like, where do you think
I
right now?
expect
in the top 50.
I think Bateman's going to be a top 20 to 25 pick. I think Eli Moore's going in the first round. I mean, I
don't know if he's going to go in the first round, but I think he's going to go in the top 50 for sure.
I think he's going.
There's really no difference between a guy going 27th overall and a guy going 45th overall for
That's
receivers.
fair.
There's not really a difference.
Like, I'm trying to think, like, later teams, what type of landing spot could he expect that would get him good production right away?
I think a spot that I would really like, if the Jets went out and signed a big receiver, if they signed Kenny Golladay, and in the second round they drafted Elijah Moore, I think that'd be really good.
Heck, what if they draft
Elijah Moore? Has to go to a spot that has a number 1 though. I think Tennessee is my favorite spot for him. If he went to Tennessee with AJ Brown as the other receiver there, I think that would be a great spot for him.
What if the Jets drafted him at 23?
If they drafted him at 23, I would need to. I'd be a little bit more hesitant just because I don't know if Eli Moore can handle, like,
No. I got another
number 1 receiver, but again, like, I think the guy is super talented, so I'd still like that spot just because there's a lot of target potential in a spot like that where there's no, like, established guy.
Hypothetically, the Browns trade Jarvis Landry on draft day for, like, let's just say a 3rd round pick.
What if they trade Beckham instead?
That could work too. Now, the problem is, I don't know if, like, Moore can play on the outside year.
I think he can. He played enough on the outside this year. Yeah, I think he's better in the slot, obviously, but
those receivers aren't even, like, outside receivers though, like, because they run play action, they run pro style the whole time anyway, so that wouldn't be that big of a deal.
Yeah, the Browns scheme too is not one that has a lot of 3 wide sets anyway, so I don't think they would be interested in a guy like Elijah.
Yeah, and when they do,
it would be more someone like Diami Brown if they want it, because Diami Brown played 6 snaps on the inside.
Yeah, because Daz Newsome.
Yeah,
Is
Daz
Higgins
played like 97% of the
Yeah.
snap.
Is Rashod Higgins a free agent?
I think yeah, he is.
So that'd be
I think
that'd
they
be
said
a
they're
good
going
one.
to try and bring him back, though.
I've
Yeah,
heard about,
she's pretty good.
Yeah.
now we've been pegging Washington as a good spot for Bateman all offseason because again you got Terry McLaurin that can work well.
Moore would be awesome in that spot.
That's what I just said. What if Elijah Moore landed in
Honestly,
Washington?
all of those slot receivers would be awesome in that spot. Kadarius Toney, fucking Elijah Moore, even Rondale Moore would be probably pretty good there.
I'll be honest, man. Like don't get me wrong, I like Kadarius Toney's tape. Even if he goes 19,
He's right. He's so many red flags, man. It's not even funny.
bro, I do not feel comfortable taking him at all. Because I mean, first of all, he was 23, 24 years old this year, and he still was not a huge contributor.
Yeah.
Like I don't know,
He was seventh in receptions last year.
Yeah. So let's get into a couple more questions. We got the boy Reese in here, draft guide member right now. What up? What's
Also,
up,
is
Reese?
it Reese or is it Rise? Because I've been calling you Rise, and I'm not sure if that's correct.
I think it's Reese.
True.
I don't know.
I have an interesting discussion on Lamar's question here, so I want to get into that.
All right, let's do it.
Okay.
Deep dynasty trade targets for
here's
rebuilding
my
teams.
advice for this. Deep dynasty trade targets, the best way to do this is by going off of perceived value. With free agency,
Yes.
I believe is going to be opening in like 9 days from now. The best thing you can do for deep dynasty trade targets is trade for guys that look like they just got nixed by a free agent signing. So like, for example, Carson Wentz just got traded to Indianapolis. Jacob Eason's a good trade target right now because his value is perceived to be like nothing because of Carson Wentz's trade.
You could probably get him for a late third.
Melt down by week 10, and Jacob Eason could get a shot at the starting job.
And like you could probably get a guy like that for like a super late third or even early
you could
fourth.
probably get him for like a third round startup pick or like a fourth and like a bad player or something like that.
Third round rookie, you mean, right?
Sorry, third round rookie pick. Yeah, like I think guys like
late
that
third,
what you're going to be looking for. I think like if Aaron Jones re-signs with the Packers or gets franchise tag, that's when you trade for AJ Dillon. You don't trade for AJ Dillon if Aaron Jones is uncertain what he's going to be doing. Like that's the type of thing I mean. Like if someone gets buried in the depth chart, like there's reports that Jacksonville is going to trade for or is going to sign Chris Godwin or go for a big free agent. That's when you trade for LaVisca Chenault or DJ Chark. You don't do it now.
Mm-hmm.
And Lamar, we're actually right now. Like, I'm not sure if you have the draft guide or not, but right now on the draft guide, we actually do have 2 separate dynasty articles and videos linked to them. Where basically myself and Mikey discuss a bunch of startup type strategies, a bunch of trading type strategies to really help in terms of what perspective you are. If you're a rebuilder, if you're a top team, how you should really be incorporating your moves to base that. And basically sums up what you said there. I mean, for rebuilding teams, you want to accumulate high risk, high reward type assets because at the end of the day here, you're never going to get some of these guys for as cheap as they're currently going. And if you're rebuilding, heck, you miss on a guy like Jacob Eason for a late third round pick. Who cares? You assumingly you have the assets to be able to work past that. But if you hit and you get a starting quarterback for a late third round rookie pick,
if he's like a Drew Lock level starting quarterback, like he's still worth it.
And I don't even know if you have to give up a pick to be honest. You might only have to give up like dynasty fab budget at this point. Like honestly,
I think Tyler Johnson, if Godwin is tagged, is a perfect guy to trade for because everyone's like, okay, Godwin's back. No one's interested in Tyler Johnson. You might be able to get Tyler Johnson for a late third, early fourth round rookie pick.
Yeah, and I'll do that instantly because let's be honest here.
Or Scotty Miller too. Either one of them.
I'll look at my rankings right now. So third round, I'm just trying. I want to do it in comparison to what type of rookies would be available.
So in the late third round, I have like Dwayne Eskridge, Sage Surratt, Ramondre Stevenson, Tutu Atwell, like guys that are like complete dart. Like Ramondre Stevenson's got like a 600-yard rushing season under his belt.
Nico Collins, Kylan Hill, Tamorian Terry, Kadarius Toney.
We have one quarterback in there. So would you rather have Kyle Trask or Jacob Eason?
Jacob Eason?
I think I'd rather have Jacob Eason. Yeah.
Yeah, that's not close for me.
I think Kyle Trask has a chance to get top 2 day, like potentially third round.
Yeah, but it'd be out of
over Jacob Eason, but
it'd be out of demand. It wouldn't be out of like someone really likes Kyle Trask. It'd be out of there's no other quarterbacks left.
Yeah.
Take one type thing.
And I've never been a big follower or fan of Jacob Eason, but that just shows how much distaste I have for Kyle Trask.
This quarterback class, like it's
bad
like
outside the top five.
After the top five guys, it's bad. Like Kellen, people can talk up Kellen Mond all they want, but Kellen Mond doesn't have that high of a ceiling, in my opinion. Everyone has like this crazy arm talent. I heard someone say he has a higher ceiling than Justin Fields.
Chris Sims.
That is the worst fucking take I've ever heard.
Chris Sims says he was more consistent on film than Fields and Lance, which makes no fucking sense. Because if you actually don't get me wrong, film is subjective in itself, but if you just break down the efficiencies, break down the raw numbers of it, period, Kellen Mond's were easily some of the worst in the 2021 draft class, which just goes to show. I mean, you watch this guy on film. First of all, when I did watch him, his highs, he looks good. He looks like a solid quarterback. But the problem is he's just so damn inconsistent, and his lows are so bad to the point that you want to take this guy in the 4th, 5th round as a dart throw with a little bit of upside, okay, but do not compare him to a guy who is locked in to be a top 10 pick in either Lance or Fields, in my opinion.
Yeah, especially considering Fields has been that guy for so long, right? He's a top 10 high school recruit of all time. He's been that dude for a while, and yeah, he's been inconsistent, and that's a thing with young quarterbacks. Trevor Lawrence has been inconsistent too. He's not a perfect QB. Trevor Lawrence's best season was his freshman year. He hasn't been the same since his freshman year to some degree. He's still a great prospect, obviously, but people want to pretend consistency only affects Justin Fields. It literally affects every quarterback in this class and probably every quarterback to come out in the last 10 years.
Yep. By the way, I just adjusted my scale a little bit. After I watched those guys, as I mentioned, I ended up giving Zach Wilson a 113 out of 120, and Trey Lance is at a 108 out of 120. So
yeah, I have 982.5 on Zach Wilson and 947.5 on Trey Lance. So it's a pretty big difference there.
Yeah,
they're both great.
I'm not a fan of the. I agree with you from the premise of the 180-pound receivers.
There is a lot of them. There's a lot of guys that fit that profile. And to me, if you stack them all up, they're all Moore. And Elijah Moore is the best one out of them to me. And he's the only one that I really, really like and see a fantasy potential for. Rondale Moore, I think he needs to go to a absolutely perfect situation. Brandon Ayuk last year, for example, was a guy that I said was very boomer bust, but he went to a dream landing. He went to San Francisco. I'm trying to think of
Chargers right now. I will tell you right now, if Rondale Moore goes to the Chargers, I will move him up my rankings.
Yeah, and
because
if he goes to the Packers or something like that, that's a great spot. But
Packers,
if he goes to the Jets, if he goes to even
to be fair,
but I just don't really see them knowing
not
how
the
to.
Jets are a good spot for him, bro. Mike LaFleur coming from the San Fran system.
I guess, but I want to I've seen him mock to the Saints before. They already have Deontay Harris, who's basically the same type of player.
Who's your comp for him?
Yeah, who's literally my comparison for Rondale Moore. I think Rondale Moore is going to be a lot better for. And people said this about Henry Ruggs last year, and I disagreed with them. But I say this about Rondale Moore this year. I think he's going to be so much better for NFL perspective than he is for fantasy, because I think Tavon Austin has actually been a half decent NFL asset for an offense or NFL weapon for an offense, but you never know when to start the guy for fantasy. I think that's kind of going to be what Rondale Moore is, that inconsistent wide receiver 3, kind of a Curtis Samuel type. If he went to Carolina to replace Curtis Samuel, I think that'd be a great spot for him too.
Yeah, that would be fun.
He's just a guy I don't see the every week's Tyreek Hill start ceiling for him. I just don't see it. I don't think he has the well-rounded skill set that Tyreek has.
Oh, he's a B-Tech Jalen Waddle, as we've said multiple times.
Yeah, I think he's just a worse version of Jalen Waddle.
Yeah. All right, let's get into a couple others. I have one. Should I give $100 fab in order to acquire Eason?
No.
I want to know for how much fab does your league allocate?
If you're gonna have to give up that much fab, I'd rather just give up a late 3rd round pick or an early 4th round pick and then a throwaway asset. If you could give away I don't know, if you somehow have Dexter Williams on your roster and then a
4th round
pick or something like that, that's fine. I'd probably give up something like that.
Now, if you have a lot of fab in your league, I don't mind that.
He's not a guy that they've talked about too much, the Colts, but I think he is a guy that had a ceiling coming up. Yeah. He had arm strength and he had arm talent. So he's a guy that you want to be betting on if you're going to bet on any kind of deeper quarterbacks. I think James Morgan, too, the guy that the Jets drafted, is a decent dart throw that you could go out and trade for.
I'm not a huge fan of him specifically because they're probably going to be either keeping Darnold or bringing in a rookie on a 4-year, potentially 5-year deal.
Yeah, for sure. But like, if you have a guy like that on your roster, there's a chance he ends up starting 8 games at some point during his rookie contract.
Matt kind of brushes it up in his next comment as well. But man, if I'm a rebuilding team, we've mentioned so many times, tight ends take time to develop. If you can get a younger tight end that hasn't really broken out or maybe has disappointed thus far for the cheap, I wouldn't mind making that type of move as well. I mean, you're talking about guys like, let's just say hypothetically,
that's my favorite tight end.
Cole Kmet's a good one. Again,
I would have said before Jared Cook got cut, I would have said Adam Troutman too, or before Kyle Rudolph got cut, I would have said Irv Smith. But those guys are really hot names right now, so I probably would. I still like those guys, but they're not going to come at a value anymore. I think guys like, there's just so many dudes that take 2, 3, 4 years to actually develop at the tight end position that you're better off. Like, for example, with this class coming up with Freiermuth and Jordan.
OJ Howard.
Yeah, OJ Howard's a great trade target. I think you're better off not drafting guys like Freiermuth and Jordan and Hunter Long and Tommy Tremble this year and trading for them next year because their value is going to be so much lower next year than it is this year.
100%. So let's get into the couple that we missed. What up, boys? What up, Jared?
It's a guy I really like too as a trade target for the Browns.
Yeah. Reese equals Reese. Can you guys cover Ramondre Stevenson? Okay, so with Ramondre Stevenson, a term that is mostly well used amongst the football, even the fantasy community at times, Ramondre Stevenson is the classic plotter. He's a plotter. He's a bigger running back that people on fantasy Twitter like because he's thick.
I don't know. He's got some good advanced metrics. I
guess. I don't watching him play though.
Look at his attempts. He only had 101 attempts last year, and that's the most I think he's had in his career too. So he's a guy that really doesn't have a lot of tape out there, doesn't have a lot of volume out there, but he has the size, obviously, and that's what a lot of people are falling in love with. He's probably 230, 235. He's
a better version of Trey Sermon.
I wouldn't say Trey Sermon are that much different, but I think what he offers is a lot more in the receiving game. At least, again, he has limited work, so his numbers are bumped up by a couple big plays, but he averages second most yards per route run in this class for a running back of his size. That's intriguing, and I think weight adjusted speed score is a big indicator for the running back position. So if Ramondre Stevenson runs in the 4.4s or something like that, or even mid 4.5s or something, I think he's going to be a guy that I'm going to be willing to take dart throws at because he has the framework of a guy that could be good for fantasy, but it's all going to depend on A, how fast and how athletic is the guy, and 2, what kind of draft capital does he get? Because if he gets a 3rd round draft capital or something like that, teams talk themselves into these raw prospects all the time. They did it with.
I'll be so confused if he goes in the 3rd round. To be honest, I
would be too.
You're saying 3rd round? Stevenson. He's currently
a 4th or 5th round projected now.
Probably
83rd pick on the Grinding the Box website.
No shot. He's projected to be a 3rd round pick.
That's
what?
He went to a big school and he has good numbers, man. And he's got good size too. There's a chance if he has good athletic testing that he could just rise up boards like crazy.
Yeah, I mean, he showed he can run in a spread offense. He's not just a plotter because he didn't plot at Oklahoma.
I didn't see that twitchiness to his game. But then again, you can't really expect much from a 235 pounder.
But he's elusive, and his elusiveness ratings, again, he had a very limited workload, so a lot of his numbers were aided by a couple big games and big runs, but his elusiveness numbers, his yards per route run, his breakaway runs, they're all up there with the better ones in the class, even though he only had 101 attempts.
It's fair. Yeah, I don't know. How much does he weigh right now, by the way?
It says player profile only says 230, but I think he might weigh more than that.
ESPN says 246.
I don't think he weighs that much.
He's probably in between those numbers.
I think he probably weighs a little bit
235, 240.
He's probably 235.
Yeah, 237 maybe.
Dillon, to be honest. AJ Dillon won the 2nd round.
Yeah, that's fair.
But I think
they also took Jordan Love at a fullback.
Yeah, I mean, if you want to say he's a better version of AJ Dillon, perhaps maybe.
I think AJ Dillon was a good prospect. I haven't actually full disclosure. Andre Stevenson in depth yet. He's actually one of the guys on my list right here. He's literally the 3rd one down that I have to watch next. So I'm going to be watching him, and I'll probably put some stuff out on Twitter about him. But
maybe it's just that I
intrigue me in a class that's really bad. This class is really bad after the first couple running backs. People are going to talk themselves into Ramondre Stevenson, NFL teams included.
Yeah, I mean, maybe it's just me because like I've never just been a fan of these basically bowling balls coming into the draft. Because again, I wasn't that high on AJ Dillon that last year. Kind of have that same kind of mindset towards Ramondre Stevenson. But yeah, if he gets the proper landing spot, I can definitely be persuaded on him. Could probably move him up to like a late second rounder type in the rookie drafts.
Arthur Smith, maybe he's like, oh, this guy's my Derrick Henry.
That's fair. That could work.
He's gonna have the advantage because he did it in a spread offense where AJ Dillon didn't do it in a spread offense. Like that's why if you watch his film, it's probably going to be a bunch of big plays.
Yeah,
they were
AJ Dillon offense that he ran in was like I form, like
exactly.
Was the run, bro.
AJ Dillon was actually good. Like he was a good player on film. He's good at running the ball. He just couldn't do anything else really. He was just like a 2-down grinder
between the tackles. Donald Parham is actually an interesting one as well because again, Hunter Henry's probably not coming back in free agency. Donald Parham
has franchise tag reports that they might tag him again.
And if that's the case, okay.
Hunter Henry?
Yeah,
if that's the case,
franchise tag for tight ends is like $7.5 million. Like it's not a lot. I think Jonnu Smith's going to get franchise tag too.
If that's the case, that makes me want to trade for Parham even more because let's be honest here. After a double franchise tag with the tight end position, you're probably not going to be bringing that guy back because he's not going to affect your games as much as a lot of other positions on offense. And if that's the case, you got a guy like Donald Parham, 6'8", athletic monster, chilling behind Hunter Henry. I do think he could end up taking that role as soon as 2022 if the franchise tag happens.
Can we go back and clip that where you said a double franchise tag they won't sign?
I said to the tight end position. I specifically stated tight end position.
I'm just messing with it.
No, I
think Parham's good. He's a freaking athlete, so.
I was thinking about that as I was saying, and I'm like, I got to make sure I reference tight end position because Luke is going to say Dak. Give me Mike Thomas in this. Yeah, give me Mike Thomas in those scenarios. I understand the quarterback.
Is it super flex though?
Even if it's super flex, to be honest, Michael Thomas is just such a ready-made contributor.
What's the worst pick you get there? Trey Lance?
Yeah, Trey Lance, Jamar Chase.
Michael Thomas. Then
I agree too.
I'd rather have Michael Thomas than Jamar Chase or Devonta Smith, even Javonte Williams or something like that.
Like if you convinced me that I was getting Harris at 105, I would keep Harris over him. But I just think Harris is going to be gone.
Michael Thomas's trade value and like perceived value among the community is in the dirt right now. Like this is a dude that was like a first-round pick last year, and he's probably not at that level. He was probably overrated last year, but I think he's underrated this year, which is weird that he kind of went from everyone loving him and thinking he's like this guaranteed locked and loaded 10-year dynasty asset to a guy that no one really wants anymore. I think
right now
he's a top 10 dynasty receiver.
For reference, right now, MT is my wide receiver 9 in Dynasty. And then you got the Devonta Smith, Jamar Chase area. They're at 19 and 22 right now. Again, landing spot's going to affect that, but
I don't know. The way I see it is like who's going to have more trade value next year? At worst, Trey Lance or Michael Thomas in a super flex league?
I still think it's going to be Michael Thomas because Michael Thomas is going to rebound.
But who's going to be that quarterback? Because they're not signing anyone to a more than 1 year deal.
Probably. It's going to be one of 3 guys, in my opinion. It's going to be one of Winston, a quarterback in the draft, whether that's Mac Jones that they trade up for or something like that, or it's going to be Taysom Hill.
I don't think it's going to be Mac Jones. I think it's one of the 2 guys on the roster.
Yeah, I just don't see where like Thomas's value. I mean, it'll go up in perspectively comparing it to last year, but like it's not going to go up from where it should be at a normal rate.
And to be honest, though, even with Taysom Hill under center, like the main thing that was missing from his game was the touchdowns because he was still getting a ton of volume, even with Taysom Hill there. I think he was averaging over 100 or 105 yards per game when Taysom Hill was a quarterback. I could actually do that splits on RotoViz right now just to check it, but his raw numbers weren't going down. It's just the efficiency and it's just the touchdowns that really went down. But that's over a 4-game sample size. Like I'm not taking that much into consideration for it.
Yeah, people are going to use that split with Taysom Hill for Alvin Kamara a lot. They're going to talk about it. I think there's a lot less that needs to be taken away from that split than people are going to, and that's for Thomas. That's for everybody on that roster. Everyone's going to go, Taysom Hill is the start. But I don't even think Taysom Hill is going to be the starter most of the season. I think Jameis Winston's going to start.
It'll be both. They'll just do what they did last year, pretty much.
Okay. I'll find the splits right now. You can get into the next question.
Okay, so if Chase ends up in Philly with Jalen Hurts, do you downgrade him? I just don't think that is a great situation. What do you guys think? Okay, so I kind of agree with you. I don't think Jalen Hurts is like the greatest quarterback that I want my dynasty wide receiver or my rookie wide receiver 1 to be going to. But the thing with Jamar Chase is if he goes to Philly, he gets top 6 draft capital. And he also is the clear and target like hog on that team, on a team that should be better than they were last year. I know they were kind of a dumpster fire last year, but they should be better just with the fact that there's not as much like rift between quarterback and coach and stuff. They should be kind of aligned with what they want to do, but it's going to be interesting to see. Jamar Chase is a guy that I really don't know how I'm going to upgrade him based on landing spot, because I think all the landing spots projected to go to are kind of all the same. Like if he goes to the Dolphins,
that's the problem.
The Eagles, the Giants. I think the Giants would honestly be my favorite landing spot for Jamar.
There's no way.
That's where I think Waddle's going.
Yeah, okay, looking at the board, like where's the lowest Chase goes? Like the Lions?
I think there's a chance that the Giants could trade up for him. I don't know if he makes it to 11, but I think there's a chance that they could trade up for him.
Okay,
I think his floor is 7th overall pick.
So Jets, Dolphins, I think Falcons could take him, and Eagles.
Giants in a trade up.
Yeah, there's not really a good landing spot.
I think when you look at the guys that need receivers, like Jamar Chase should be the guy that the NFL values the most, I would think.
Yeah,
I think so.
I think the Giants are my favorite spot for him just because they have like an opening at number 1 receiver, and I think Chase is he needs the type of quarterback that Daniel Jones is, a guy that'll trust his dude to win. And I don't really know if Jalen Hurts is that type of guy. I think they're going to be more of a rushing offense between Sanders and Jalen Hurts. I think it downgrades him a little bit, but not really. I think Chase's value is kind of going to be consistent regardless of where he goes, because I think all the spots are really the same. There's no like San Francisco this year that's like a clear spot that's going to be awesome for someone to land.
Well, just looking at it, his profile is going to be the same on any team he goes to, where he's not really a dependent receiver, in my opinion.
Yeah. He's also just that good, too. That's how good he is, that he's not landing spot dependent. I think every 32 team in the NFL could use a guy like Jamar Chase. I don't think Jalen Waddle is a guy that's completely more dependent than Jamar Chase is on where he goes.
Sure. By the way, these are empty splits without Breeze. Now, the splits with Breeze are relatively more like worse, but keep in context that Breeze was playing hurt. The offense really struggled the first game against Tampa Bay.
Game back was Taysom Hill.
But 16.1 PPR points per game with Taysom Hill in the lineup.
Yeah, that was I'm talking that up to health. Like he wasn't healthy for the.
Yeah, you can't, because what's the in split with Drew Brees?
Yeah, no, that's what I'm saying. No. I'm saying the split out of split is when Taysom Hill was in.
Yeah, so that's a waste. That's a waste of data.
Yeah. Carlton Davis in those games.
Yeah, so I mean, if you're looking at it, people are going to downgrade MTO because if Taysom Hill starts yada, that's still 9.5 targets per game, 86 yards per game, and the real thing that was lacking here was the touchdowns. He didn't have a single touchdown in the 7 games he played this year. If he just gets positive touchdown regression, I know we cite this all the time. Oh, those don't make up numbers, but he had 9 2 years ago.
I don't get a high ankle sprain in week 1. It'd be fine for fantasy.
Yeah,
it really comes down to that for me, because Michael Thomas was always going to be a guy going into last year that I was lower on just because everyone had him wide receiver 1. I'm like, I don't know if he can do that again, because people want to cite regression for every other player, but they don't want to cite regression for a guy that broke the receptions record a year before. I'm like, I don't think he's going to have that great of a season again, but I think he's going to be a guy that's going to be probably a value in like the 3rd, 4th round of redraft this year, because people are going to be way down on him.
I'll tell you, even if he ends up with 5 or 6 touchdowns, I think given the volume that I expect of him,
he's going to catch 100 balls.
I think given the volume that I expect from him, given what we've seen, again, 7.5 catches per game, even with Taysom Hill in, if you average that out, 7.5 catches per game over a 16-game sample size, that'd be relatively 120, because 7.5. So that's still 120 reception pace. I think
he's probably in those years.
I think he's still a lock to have that 100, 110 type reception plateau, because let's be honest here, he is the focal point along with Kamara of that entire offense. I think personally, if he plays 16 games next year, I just don't see him finishing outside the top 8 receivers, but I don't really see him finishing inside the top 4. So
I mean, it's going to depend. Like if it's a PPR,
I think he's super safe.
See him finishing in the top 4 receivers.
Full PPR,
balls, but like he's a guy that's probably going to have 1,400 yards and 5 touchdowns and 115 catches or something like that. That's just like the type of line he's going to have. He's just like a much better version of what Golden Tate was for so many years.
Robert Woods is a good example.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, much better version. But yeah, no, I do like MT, and I do think he's going criminally undervalued right now.
Mahomes.
Heck, if you're doing startups right now, this guy's probably going in like the late third, early fourth type area.
Thomas is probably way lower than he should be going for a guy that like we were all quick to forgive the high ankle sprain for Saquon and Alvin Kamara last year. Like we're not forgiving Michael Thomas for getting a high ankle sprain in week 1.
I know. Speaking real quick, mine and Corey's best call last year, putting that little Devonta Adams ahead of MT when the consensus was saying otherwise. So,
so if you have the 101 in a dynasty startup in a super flex, the only answer to me is Patrick Mahomes. Just because
Mahomes is the answer.
Patrick Mahomes, they're like as much as we all like CMC and as much as we like whoever else X number of running back or wide receiver you could insert there. There's no more secure asset in fantasy football than Patrick Mahomes. There's no guy that you can say. Everyone wants to say, "Oh, he's a guy that's on your dynasty team for 10 years." That really only applies to Patrick Mahomes. Honestly,
because his contract will allow it. Yeah.
And I'll basically tell you what I would expect if I was the 101. Okay, first of all, Mahomes is my 101. However, if somebody wanted to move up to the 101, I'll tell you right now, 2 potential packages I would absolutely need as a baseline in order to even consider moving down. I would need one of the top 6 picks in the first round, along with either a 4th or 5th round extra startup pick, or I would need an early 2nd rounder, a 4th rounder, and at least one rookie first and one rookie second, to be honest, because that's how safe Mahomes is.
Startup where the guy wanted Mahomes and he picked 12 and he gave up both of his turn picks, and then the guy who had the first pick gave up his 5th rounder, I think.
So 1 and 2 for a 1 and 5.
Yeah, so it was 12 and 13 for a 1 and a 5th round pick.
That's probably around there.
Who are you picking? So like Mahomes and
that's probably around like the Dak Watson type range. At the
if you wanted to pick a like I don't know, probably get at the time like this was last year. You probably could have gotten like Chris Godwin and Dak Prescott or something there.
Okay.
Yeah, that's yeah. I don't know. Mahomes is the clear one.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, for sure. I'm more in the camp of just take the clear asset. That's you're going to know what you're getting every year.
I like accumulating value if you can trust yourself in terms of drafting and making up the value there. Like if you can turn Mahomes and let's just say 5th round rookie or 5th round startup pick, who's probably going around that range, like
the rookie receivers were last year probably.
Would you rather Mahomes and Terry McLaurin or Dak and Herbert?
Mahomes and Terry McLaurin.
I'd rather have Dak and Herbert. That's two elite quarterbacks.
That's what I think as well. But like that would be the type of value I would need in order to move out from a Mahomes at 101.
Yeah, no, it's got to be a pretty decent trade. So you said he looks elusive to me. Well, he is elusive, at least on his work that he got last year. Again, he only had 101 total attempts or rushing attempts, but he broke a tackle or avoided a tackle on 36% of them, which was actually 3rd highest in the entire class. Yeah. And again, the guys ahead of him were Jarrett Patterson, Javonte Williams, who had more carries than him, but he's still a guy that can make people miss despite his size. So again, if you're Reese, if you're interested in Ramondre Stevenson, the numbers that you want to be paying attention to are how athletic is he and where does he go in the draft? Because if those numbers are there, if he runs like a 4.48 or something, and he goes in the 3rd round of the NFL draft, I'm going to be in on that.
If he runs a 4.48 at 245 or 240 type pounds,
even if he weighs 230, runs a 4.48,
that would be.
He'll probably weigh in at like 225, 230, I guess.
230 is probably what he's going to weigh.
That would be incredible. 4.48, even if he runs like 4.53, yeah, like I'd be fine with something like that.
If speed score is above 100, 105, I'd be in on him.
Yeah. Evan says, my boys, I hope all is well. Is there any rookie skill position player that's worked drafting in the first 5 or 6 rounds this year? Obviously, which team the player goes to?
Drafting.
Out of the rookies.
Like a dynasty
startup. Would you draft any of the rookie position players?
Lawrence?
Yeah. No,
Harris?
Skill position.
Oh, skill position. Does quarterback count?
Top
3 running backs, I think.
Top 3 running backs.
Yeah, 3 running backs.
I would take Chase
Smith.
in the top rounds.
Chase, Smith, Bateman, Waddle.
I wouldn't take all 4.
What was the cutoff for the receivers last year? So Lamb was definitely top 5 and 6. I'd say Judy probably was
close. Yeah,
I don't know.
Rager might have made his way in that area.
Jefferson probably was by the end of the startup sort of phase.
Okay, so Harris, Etienne, Williams,
All those
There's also more.
those guys are top 4 round picks, by the way.
Yeah. Smith, Chase.
I don't think I would take Smith in the top 6 rounds. So right now I have Jamar Chase at wide receiver 17 right now, just behind Mike Evans. So that's where he is for me. I have Devonta Smith at
wide receiver 22
for 27.
Hit publish real quick so I can see your rankings.
So basically, you have a tier between Chase and Smith.
I do, and it's not because I don't like Smith. It's not because I think Chase is that much better. It's because I think there's so many dudes in this range. Like, would you rather have Devonta Smith or T. Higgins? Like
I have Higgins one. I have Higgins one spot ahead of Smith right now.
But like when you think of the top 5 or 6 rounds, if it's a super flex league, you're getting like guys like probably I'm gonna look at my receiver rank. You're getting top 8, like 20 receivers in the 6th round. Like you're getting T. Higgins, Deontay Johnson, CeeDee Lamb, Brandon Ayuk type of guys like in that 6th round range. And depending on landing spot, maybe I would take Devonta Smith over some of those guys, but.
Okay,
guys, I know what they are already.
Would you rather Jamar Chase or Kenny Galladay?
Jamar Chase.
Yeah.
Okay.
How old's Galladay? 27 off like 4 injuries.
Yeah. Jamar Chase or Deontay Johnson?
Jamar Chase.
Yeah. Okay. Same. Those are the 2 guys I have. Those are the 2 guys I have directly. Those are 2 guys I have directly behind Jamar Chase right now. But this one's a close one, even though he's lower down. Jamar Chase or Brandon Ayuk?
Ayuk.
I have Ayuk at 21, but I have Chase at 17.
Yeah, that's where you kind of have to decide is like, do you want to take the guys that you know their production or roll the dice on Chase, which I think Chase is good. Chase being Brandon Ayuk, CeeDee Lamb. Like that's kind of like where you can find
what you need out of Chase. You're rolling the dice that Chase becomes Justin Jefferson this time next
Yeah,
year.
that's what you're hoping.
And I think that he has that kind of potential. So I'm willing to.
He was better 2 years ago at LSU. So he probably has more potential, honestly.
Yeah, exactly. And he's had a year off to put on weight, get stronger, potentially work on his route.
Not lose every game in the SEC.
So we got a dynasty question as well from Matt. He says, Superflex PPR, would you give up 222 first, the 205 and a 2022 second for AJ Brown? He is rebuilding. Is AJ Brown the next Julio Jones? For the I'll answer the second part of the question real quick. I don't think anybody's going to be the next Julio Jones, quite frankly. As good as I love A.J. Brown, Julio Jones is probably a top 5 or 6 receiver of all time. So, I mean, comparing in terms of fantasy production, I can maybe see.
If you think of the way the NFL is going, like with all the production, like if you told me AJ Brown has a run, how long did Julio have like 1,400 yards like every
single 10 years? I'll pull it up right here.
I think it was a 7-year stretch.
Brown had that kind of run where he kept getting 1,400, 1,300 yards for like 6 straight years or however long Julio did it. It wouldn't shock me, honestly. Like I think he has that kind of potential.
It was 6 years, but there was a gap where he only played 5 games for 580, and then another year on top. So like 7.5, 8 years, yeah. And then honestly, pretty much 9 this year because he played 9 games and had like 90 yards a game. So
I wouldn't bet probably anybody to put up that kind of production, but if the guy that I'm going to bet on it, it's probably that tier of receiver. Like Tyreek Hill, that I would bet that kind of production on. AJ Brown's like right behind Tyreek Hill in my dynasty rankings. So 2022 first. How are we like how do you value next year's first? Because I think they're not as good as this year's first, obviously, because one, this class is way better, and 2,
I'll tell you right now,
they're not as valuable as maybe some people think they are.
Well, I mean, looking at the guys that are going to be available next year, you're talking about what, like Breece Hall, Spencer Rattler, Sam Howell,
that's all Daniels. A huge question mark right now.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Like even going into this year, you could have known. And you might be like, oh, well, the guys are going to come out of nowhere like Javonte Williams and stuff. And that's true.
You knew Trevor Lawrence. You knew Najee.
Trevor Lawrence, Etienne,
Chase.
Harris. We knew, Hubbard kind of fell flat on his face, but we thought he'd be a good asset going into this year.
Bateman.
We knew Justin Fields would be a good asset going into this year. We knew Trey Lance would be a good thing going into this year. There was like legitimately 8 or 9 guys that you knew were going to be first-round startup picks.
Yeah.
Or first-round
rookie picks. Whereas, like, again, next year, the only guy I'm like truly confident, like, we could talk about the quarterbacks. I think it's just kind of a crapshoot of guys at the top, whereas this year it was more refined at the top. Out of the skill position players, really, the only guys you're truly looking are going to be fantasy superstars, in my opinion, is a guy like Breece Hall. Breece Hall, in my opinion, would if he was in this year's class, he would be making a run at that top 3, and quite frankly, might even be ahead of Williams or Etienne.
He'd be the 3.
He's potentially higher.
For this. Would you give this up for Tyreek Hill?
Yes.
So he was the dynasty wide receiver
ahead of AJ Brown.
Yeah, and he was the dynasty wide receiver probably 2 or 3 last year, and I think AJ Brown's the 3 this year. So
AJ Brown's my 5 right now. I currently have it.
I have
Adams Hill.
3.
I have Adams, Hill, Diggs, Jefferson, and then him.
I mean, I don't know. Like
your 3 to 5 range is so close for me.
So, like, look at it last year. You would have been giving up for Tyreek Hill. I don't know what. Okay, Justin Jefferson, but that's an outlier because he broke the rookie record on a team that had the heaviest run pass ratio. And what's another late Henry Ruggs, the 205 you gave up.
Jalen Reagor or like one of the
205 would have been 205 this year would be like
Higgins, Pittman.
Yeah, Pittman. Pittman's a good one. So you would have had Ruggs, Jefferson, Pittman. But honestly, if you would have traded away a receiver for 3 picks, you wouldn't have taken 3 receivers. You would have taken
running back.
Name a late round
AJ
1.
Dillon might have been the 205 or something like that.
Yeah.
For over 1,000 yards and right around 10 touchdowns for the next 5 years. So
I think I probably would do that package for AJ Brown. I would maybe try and get it down a little bit, or maybe add
it. Yeah, you could probably get it down.
If you told me you could keep the 205 in this deal, I would do it.
Or if you could keep the 2022 second, if you could get rid of something like that, or instead of keeping those, you get like. I don't know. Let me look down. If you could get maybe a rookie receiver this year that had a down season, like
Reagor, Ruggs, yeah.
If you could get something like that back with AJ Brown, then I would 100% do this deal. But I think I would still honestly do it this year, or the way you have it there.
What are your tier breaks for Dynasty Superflex rookie draft? So we actually made a video on this, but let's just outline it right now. So for us, we view it for Corey. I believe it's 101 to 106.
It's the 101 to 105. I initially, when we made that video, I had it 101 to 104, but I think Justin Fields is in that tier for me now.
Lawrence to Fields, and then
Lawrence, Wilson, Etienne, Harris, and Fields. And if you disagree with Wilson, I'm sure some people do. I would say for sure Lawrence, Etienne, Harris, and Fields, and maybe
it's got to be 2 quarterbacks, 2 running backs. I think at minimum.
Yeah, I think that's probably the first tier, and then I think there's a gigantic tier after that from. Anywhere from Zach Wilson, if you think he's not as good as I think,
6 to 12.
With Jamar Chase, Javonte Williams, Devonta Smith, and Trey Lance, I think
I'd put Pitts in that as well.
And Pitts. I think I would put Pitts in that tier too. And then Jaylen, Waddle, Rashod, Bateman are probably even a tier of their own as well, in my opinion.
I'd
actually put
you could always club all those guys together too. Honestly, I would say the biggest tier break to be aware of is the first round. The first round in and of itself is a tier break because. In our opinions, the top 4 quarterbacks are going to be great fantasy assets. Kyle Pitts is a unicorn. The top 4 receivers, Waddle, Bateman, Chase, and Smith, are all, in our opinions, the 4 first-round caliber receivers in this draft. And then the 3 running backs are the like top 4-round startup pick type running backs that we view them as. Depending
on landing spot, I can see the 201 being in this tier as well because if Elijah Moore gets a proper landing spot.
I don't think Elijah Moore has that kind of pull yet. That's who I think is the 201, but I don't think he has that kind of pull to be considered a tier break type of player. Like I don't even have Elijah Moore as my 201. I have Michael Carter as my 201.
I have Carter as my 202. And I have Mac Jones as my 203.
Mac Jones is my 202. And
I have
my 203.
Okay, so I have the same 3 guys except different order.
When it comes to trading then, so wouldn't that kind of – because I kind of have the strategy this where it's like trade up into the top 4 or trade back into the 11, 12.
See, another thing too is that I think early second-round picks are actually a good trade target because certain guys that I'm lower on might go in the first round. Like
Rondale Moore.
I'm going to probably take Rondale Moore in the first round.
Rondale Moore.
Maybe a quarterback needy team takes in Mac Jones in the first round too.
So someone takes Terrace Marshall. Someone takes Tylan Wallace, Diami Brown.
Darius Toney fan somewhere if he gets – because I think he's going to go in the first round of the NFL draft.
Heck, I saw Kyle Yates take Dwayne Eskridge in the first round of the mock draft.
That's really mental.
So,
I think if you really like Elijah Moore or Michael Carter or something like that, you could easily get those guys at like a 204 or something like that.
Yep. So we'll get into Matt real quick. Should I invest all? Okay. If you have a lot of rookie picks, I don't like just putting everything into the youth pool because let's be honest here, the whole hit rates of these young guys, like yes, when you do hit, it's fantastic. But if you have 7 first round picks, like I've seen some people boast, if you can trim that down, if you can trim that.
The way I look at it is to spend your half your picks.
Honestly. Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Like, if you have, and that's only if you have
5 or so, 4 or 5,
or more than spend half of them. Don't spend 8 picks in the first round.
I agree. Because what you could do is you can take, let's just say the 108 this year. You could probably flip that into a first and a second next year.
You might be able to get 108.
Yeah, you might be able to get MT for like the 108. Or if somebody is like, oh shoot, I need to move up. I've seen moves like Scott for the record. He'll have a pick that's like 108. Somebody's going to be desperate to move up. He will take, I shit you not, I've seen it happen in my face, the 202 and their first and second next year. And it's like, you just got a first and 2 seconds for a late first round pick.
Yeah.
It's like clockwork.
Last year, I made a trade with Scott last year where I traded the 105 and the 112 for Chris Godwin because I had 7 first round picks. So, I mean, maybe you guys don't think that's a great trade now because I think the 105 ended up being Cam Akers, which is kind of an L. And the 112 ended up being, I think actually it was a waste pick. I think it was like Jalen Reagor or something like that. So that wasn't too bad, but I think that's kind of maybe the type of trade you want to make. If you have like 5, 6, 7 first round picks, I would probably only spend like 4 or 5 of them.
Yeah, no, I'm about that as well. So, Lucas, I just saw your message in Scott's thoughts.
Yeah, I'm trying to see the draft board.
We got you curious now. I'm sorry, fellas. My question was horribly worded. I meant in redraft for the upcoming season. I know role will play a factor, but I was curious if you guys were super high on anyone. Yeah, so in redraft, again, as I mentioned, it's probably just going to be the running backs that are taken in the first 5 or so rounds. Because let's be honest here, people just don't take rookie receivers until really
I think the highest you'll see any of these rookie receivers go in a redraft league would be like 8th round, probably. Like absolute highest.
Like I think CeeDee Lamb was like a 9th round pick last year. Justin Jefferson was a 9th round pick.
He was like 9th round pick, 10th round, whatever. I think you probably don't get Jamar Chase like going in the 6th round for Devonta Smith. I think probably just the running backs. The only guy that I would say maybe has a chance to get into the top 6 rounds is Kyle Pitts, to be honest.
Yeah. And even if people are going to convince themselves, tight ends take longer to develop. I know, but I'm saying they do.
If someone's feeling really gutty and they want to take Trevor Lawrence really early, I'm not probably going to be.
So where is the exciting? Obviously, it's like 3 quarterbacks will go before the 6th round. But like in terms of like high-end quarterback drafting, where I'm trying to think of there was the QB tier of like Allen to Tyler last year. You're probably going to see Jalen Hurts get into that tier. Oh, Dak's in that tier. Redraft. So like what any of those rookie quarterbacks you think make that like
none
wannabe Patrick Mahomes tier? I guess you could say.
I'll say this right now. I don't think I'm going to have to pick him here, but if Teddy Bridgewater's traded or cut or something, and Justin Fields, Zach Wilson goes to Carolina, I'll legitimately take him. They'll be in my top 10 quarterback ranking.
He'd be ahead of Hurts, Tannehill, Rodgers.
I would take probably Tannehill over him, but I'd
be ahead of Joe Burrow if he's healthy.
Yeah, I would take him over Joe Burrow if they're on Carolina.
I take Rodgers over them, by the way.
I would take Rodgers over them too.
Would he be? He'd be below like Dak, Watson, Russ.
Yeah, Dak, Watson, Russ, Lamar, Kyler.
He'd probably borderline top 10 quarterback. Whoever.
So he'd be right behind Tannehill, probably.
Yeah,
behind Tannehill. So like the 10
right ahead of Jalen Hurts.
I put him ahead of Hurts as well. If Zach Wilson landed in Carolina.
Yeah.
What do you think about Mac Jones? By the way, Bush loved that article on analyzing quarterbacks.
I appreciate that.
Yeah, I'll let you take first because your article was mentioned. So
just for an update, I can't do the running back and wide receiver and tight end article until these guys test. So that one might take a little bit longer unless I use like projected 40 times like in my own rankings. But I don't really want to do that. Actually, the wide receiver one I can probably do because the 40 time metric, you just need to be under a 4.6. Doesn't matter what you run. But what I think about Mac Jones is basically he is entirely landing spot dependent. That's the way I look at him for fantasy. If he goes to a spot where he has some weapons, he has good coaching staff, I'm going to be in on him. He's probably going to be a late 1st round pick, early 2nd round pick for me. But if he goes to a situation like Detroit or something like that, like if he goes to a situation that I just don't view him as like having too much upside in the immediate future, I'm probably not going to be that in on him because he's a guy that probably needs to get off to a fast start for his NFL career for me to really buy in. Because if he's a guy who has a down rookie season or doesn't play much his rookie season, I think his value takes a tremendous dip because he doesn't have the rushing ability, the out of structure creating plays ability that the other 4 quarterbacks in this class have.
Yeah. I mean, hypothetically, he's going to get a good landing position, right? From the aspect of like,
he could definitely be a Derek Carr level asset for fantasy for a long time. Like I could definitely see him being.
That wasn't a good return on draft pick, but in the sense of like good return on like
Derek Carr in the back of the first round in 2014 and held him all these years, he would have been a great pick for you at that time. But I think
I don't know. He's going to go to a good team. Like, what's the worst team? What's
Patriots.
Like the worst team that Mac Jones could go to? Like,
I would actually be in on him if he went to the Patriots.
Really?
Yeah.
With no weapons?
Like name a bad team. He could go top 10, but like name a bad. But like
Chicago with no Allen Robinson.
That's fair because Trubisky was startable with Allen Robinson.
Chicago with no Allen Robinson.
I mean,
Bears football team, Saints, Patriots,
Pittsburgh.
I don't know how in I'd be on him if he was on the football team either.
I wouldn't mind it if they took another
I'm talking like Carolina Saints, like really good landing spot, like not like average landing spot.
That's fair. All right,
let's be an early second round like rookie pick for me, but I don't think I'd be really in on him because I feel like a lot of people would pick him in the first round. Like if he goes in the first round of the NFL draft, I think he's gonna be a first round rookie pick.
Michael, I'll take the two proven players in this scenario. As much as I love the rookies in this draft,
100%.
As much as I love the rookies in this draft, I mean, you're getting Dobbins and AJ Brown who have legitimate weakling.
AJ Brown might even be enough to take that. Like if you're getting like AJ Brown is that good of an asset in my opinion that I almost would consider just that package for AJ Brown.
I wouldn't give up that much just for one receiver personally, but
I don't know,
the fact that you're getting Dobbins
up there is probably Travis Etienne,
Harris,
one of the quarterbacks, and
like Waddle,
bateman.
Shot at a receiver,
yeah. Dobbins and AJ Brown, I would take every day of the week.
Yeah, same. Like not close. By the way, did you guys see me quote tweet it with the little?
Yes, I did.
Shocker.
The classic, bro. The classic never gets old.
Yeah. What do you guys think of the second year running backs? Do you view them any different? Like, because I know a lot of people probably view them all the same between
Akers moves up easily.
Dobbins and who am I missing?
I think they're all extremely overvalued right now.
You think they're overvalued? I think Akers.
Like I see people ranking Jonathan Taylor as like the Dynasty 3.
Okay, Jonathan Taylor. I agree that Jonathan Taylor should be in the top.
I have JT at 5, so
I have at 6.
But like, who's below him though?
I have Nick Chubb one spot below him.
Chubb, Henry, Akers.
The Henry one just doesn't make sense.
I have Henry.
The reason why I have Henry lower is because the amount of touches he received and the amount of age. But like if you're a win now asset, like
the Derrick Henry argument is the same thing every year. Like you can't do it again, and then he does it again every year.
The way I view it, though, I view them in the same tier. So if you're a win now team, I would prefer Henry because his ceiling is ultimately higher. But the problem is if you're actually approximating value.
Do we 100% think the Colts aren't going to bring back like Marlon Mack or involve
Marlon Mack is shot, bro?
No, I think they're going to roll with Taylor and Hines for next little while.
Yeah.
Marlon Mack's Achilles is shot, man. I don't think that
there's like literally never been a running back come back from an Achilles injury. Like,
it's bad.
Yeah,
like, we actually did like
Akers. I don't know.
Akers I have at 8 right now on my Dynasty.
I just don't want to even roll the dice on him because I don't know. Like it's just like
I will say the one that I find kind of the one I do find overrated that I've seen constantly go. Yes, that I've seen. Yeah, the one that I see.
What's he going at right now?
He's going in like the mid to early second round from every like draft I watch on YouTube.
The problem I had with him is like
what's his ceiling? What's his ceiling?
He's going to be really good as an RB2 for a long time. So like if you didn't get him in your rookie draft, he's not worth. Well, you could trade for him. He's not worth drafting now. Is kind of my view on it because like I had a lot of him because he was going like the 108 type sort of range and like. Not that I was. I was kind of expecting him to take over. Obviously, Ingram's gone, but like Gus Edwards is going to be there as long as.
I think his ceiling is what Mark Ingram gave us a couple of years ago, where he was like RB9 on the base.
I think Dobbins can. I think Dobbins can be like a B-Tech Aaron Jones, to be quite frank.
Yeah,
in terms of like a very efficient. Yeah, a very efficient back that can score touchdowns when he gets the chances. But let's be honest here, Lamar Jackson is not leaving anytime soon. Lamar Jackson is going to take 170 somewhat carries.
Here's the question, because I have both of these guys higher than Dobbins. Do you rather take the top 2 rookie backs in this class than Dobbins? I'd rather have them both.
Yes, easily. I have Harris at 9 right now and Etienne at 13.
I have Etienne at 12 and Harris at 13.
How many carries did Dobbins have last year?
like 100
like 130.
130. Yeah.
134. Get him up to like 150 in the games that
I think
played.
he'll order 200 carries next year.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like,
I don't know. It's weird though. I don't know.
But like, whose workload is really leaving? Like, yes, Mark Ingram, but realistically, he didn't even get that many touches last year.
You're buying into more workload on the aspect of the team goes back to like 75% of the efficiency 2 years ago. Because like I thought they were going to throw a ball a lot more because they were going to step down in efficiency.
So
yeah, and they ran the ball more surprisingly. Like so, it's just kind of like a weird year, I guess to say.
You mentioned Mark Ingram 2 years ago, and this is ultimately like a stat line I can see for J.K. Dobbins, maybe like a little bit higher in efficiency.
Touchdowns or something like that.
Yeah, 200 carries, 202 carries, 1,018 rushing yards, and 10 rushing touchdowns for 5 yards a pop. And then receptions, 26 catches on 29 targets, and had 247 receiving yards and 5 touchdowns.
That sounds pretty similar. Like maybe Dobbins a little bit
higher.
Maybe has like 13, 14 touchdowns.
I think we have a good tier in our ranking. So from 12 to this is our consensus, 12 to 17, it's this is all 4 of our averages: Swift, Harris, Dobbins, Jacobs, Etienne, Gibson.
I have Gibson one spot ahead of Jacobs right now, but I can see the appeal.
Etienne behind Jacobs in our consensus.
I have Etienne ahead.
Yeah, I would definitely take.
I just have Etienne at 16, so I just don't. I'm gonna wait till like.
I'm just projecting that they because I actually think Najee Harris. What's the bet on the over under for how many running backs go in the first round?
It's not. Nothing's been. So
it's
going to be 0.5 though, right? Probably.
It has to be 0.5.
Or do you think they? Do you think they go 1?
I don't know because Harris has been trending towards the favorite, which kind of makes sense. I think from the teams
the guys that are plugged in, the Daniel Jeremiah's, Mel Kipers, all of them have Etienne as their RB1.
So yeah, I think that's where the problem is if Etienne tests really good, I think the line will be set at 1. Yeah, and I'm going to take the. I think I'm going to take the under no matter what it is. Yeah, I just don't know because like I think what teams like need running backs like they
Here's the way I look at it. And I do this in Madden all the time, so this is why I look at it that way. If you have a rushing quarterback, you want to get the opposite type of running back that your quarterback is a rusher of. So Kyler Murray is like an elusive rushing quarterback. So you want to get a thumper running back, right? So Harris makes a lot of sense to Cardinals. And then Josh Allen, for example, is a power running quarterback. You give him an Etienne, for example. So I actually do think there's enough running back needy teams at the back of the first round, along with at the early second round that could trade back up for a 5th year of control, that both of these guys might go in the first round.
Yeah.
I would not be shocked dude, Bruce Arians loves speed. If he would love Travis Etienne.
I also think though,
and Etienne can protect and catch the ball, man. Like I seriously think they're going to love him.
Well, I also think too, like what Harris brings as well, like either one makes sense for them because they're both good, complete overall backs. And you guys need a guy who can contribute.
It all depends who we bring back to. Because I seriously think we get these reports left and right being like Levante David's going to Cleveland and Chris Godwin's going to the Colts and stuff. I honestly think everyone's back. Yeah. I trust our front office to bring all the guys back that we need to. Oh yeah, Lucas had to duck out.
Yeah.
But I actually think that's what's going to happen, and the Bucs are able to bring back everyone, and therefore they don't need to reach on an edge rusher at 32 or whatever.
I do think David might leave though, to be honest.
I don't think David's going anywhere. Mike Garafolo walked his comments back. Did you see that?
I didn't even notice that.
He said he was speculating.
Oh, fair.
Basically, I didn't hear anything saying that he's like not there, and he's like they also are trying to work out a deal as we speak. Like they might actually sign him before free agency starts. So
yeah, no. Odell Beckham's junior's outlook in 2021, is he washed?
No, but his value is always going to be higher than it probably should be because he's Odell Beckham Jr. For
reference, he is currently my wide receiver 37 in Dynasty.
Yeah, so he's a guy that is worthy of like an 8th, 9th round startup pick in my opinion, but he's also a guy that is going to go higher than that. Because
he's going to go in the 7th, 6th. Yeah.
He's never going to be a guy that you can buy low on. It's just that's the way he is.
Yeah, no, I agree. Julio Jones trade possible from a dead cap perspective. I just don't see it being the case.
I don't think they'll trade him until I think the very earliest
next year.
Trade him is the deadline this year.
Potentially, yeah.
Trade deadline, maybe they deal him before the trade deadline, but I think he's probably gone next year. I think this is probably his last year in Atlanta.
Yeah, no, I agree. Okay. Keep up the good work, boys. Appreciate that money bags. Love seeing you back in the stream as always. Jared says, so if Levante David goes to the Colts, watch out. That would be pretty fun. Levante David.
I can't see a world where Levante David leaves. I just can't see it.
Bro, both the Bucks go to the Colts. There, problem solved. Getting back at Brady's biggest rival, you know?
Yeah, literally.
Do I draft Julio high? What's your definition of high, Suzuki? Because
and also, are you speaking on Dynasty or redraft?
Yeah, exactly.
I think Julio is going to be such a value in Dynasty leagues that he's kind of honestly just going to be worth the pick that you give up for him, because you're probably going to be picking Julio around guys that are like second-year breakout type receivers, and you're what you're hoping out of.
That guy is what Julio
is what Julio can give the next 2 to 3 years. I think Julio's got some stuff left in the tank still. I would point out that you don't want to invest in guys that are older coming off of injuries, like we talk about with AJ Green and stuff last year. But I think Julio might be a different animal.
I think you could probably get Julio in a dynasty league, probably around let's just say dynasty real quick. Probably around a mid to late second round pick is probably what people might sell him for.
Oh, probably, yeah. And so in a redraft league, third or fourth round, I honestly don't think you're gonna have to pick him that high.
I think fourth round, late fourth round is probably where it's going to go.
Round is where I think Julio's going to go.
Yeah, I agree.
When it's all said and done. Because, like, there's a number of teams that have 2 receivers I'd probably take over Julio Jones.
Yeah, I agree.
Maybe not that I would take over Julio Jones, but I think most people will take over Julio Jones.
Yeah, for sure. But yeah, let's just wait for a couple questions.
We're probably going to head out of here in the next couple minutes, so make sure you guys get your last couple questions in here. And stay tuned for next week. We're going to have a 2-round Superflex rookie mock draft for you guys, and we're going to have a special guest on for that as well. So stay tuned for that.
Stay tuned for that.
The last rookie mock draft we did was only 1 round, so we're going to do a 2-rounder this time, so we get to talk about some more deeper players.
100%. And we're not going to disclose much, but guy we're bringing on knows his stuff. Pretty well known around the industry. So buckle up, get ready, because that's going to be some fun.
Yep.
If you guys couldn't tell, I trimmed the beard down, made it a goatee, and I can tell you guys because you guys are the boys, but a little hungover right now. Celebrated for the 21st yesterday with the boys, so yeah, we chilling. That never stops.
Yeah.
Corey doesn't know what that's like because he hasn't been 21 for a year and a half now, basically.
Yeah, I'm almost 23.
That's crazy to me.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. Wait, it would be like 7-8 months ago, because I remember the birthday was when the video dropped.
Yeah. The
Sleepers video. That's crazy. Dang.
In a heartbeat, Matt. In a heartbeat. I'd give up 2022 first for DJ Moore in a heartbeat.
Yeah.
Personally. I would do it any day of the week.
Yeah. Well, for reference, currently I have DJ Moore as my wide receiver 10 in Dynasty.
I have let me check actually. I probably would also do it in a heartbeat for Chris Godwin, for the record. But DJ Moore, I have DJ Moore 1 spot ahead of Chris Godwin at 9. So
I have Moore at 10 and Godwin at 15 right now. So
yeah, I have Moore at 9 and Godwin at 10. So I actually would do it for both guys for sure. Especially, I mean, I guess maybe you probably don't know where the firsts are going to be, but if they're on any somewhat good teams, I would definitely be doing DJ Moore. Even if they're pretty high, I would still probably take DJ Moore.
Honestly. Peace, boys. Happy All-Star Day. Happy All-Star Day, Jared. Love seeing you in the chat as always. So we got Zach saying, are you guys selling Henry in league where running backs get half PPR? Depends what your definition of selling is. Like, what value do you think your league mates will be able to give you for him? Because I still view him, again, as I mentioned, a tier 2 type dynasty running back, top 7 overall running back. So I would need a pretty penny in order to feel comfortable moving a guy in Henry, who I think,
especially if your team's anywhere close to competing this year, I probably would not want to sell Derrick Henry, probably under any circumstances, to be honest, because I don't think you're going to get the type of value that you need to get for a guy that's going to give you top 5 numbers for the next 2-3 years at least. 100%.
So Suzuki says, I'm just getting now into fantasy, or what's Dynasty. So what Dynasty basically is you draft a roster, like I want to say a 25, 30 type player roster, and you keep those guys basically forever. So you control that roster all year round for the foreseeable future. And each year, as rookies are brought into the NFL, you would have your rookie draft. So what your rookie draft basically is just
it's
taking
like the NFL draft for an NFL team, basically.
Yeah, so basically the main differences between Dynasty and redraft is in Dynasty, it really takes a lot more value into age because let's be honest here, if you can compare two assets, one's 28 years old and one's 24 years old, you look at it as, well, I get 4 more years of productivity in their prime out of the guy that's younger. So therefore, a lot of times, people will use age as a huge factor in making their rankings.
Overvalue it, in my opinion, because what
I agree.
There is a good indication of why they overvalue it. They're like, oh, I get 4 more years of productivity, but like that's not guaranteed for a guy that's 24 years old. You might get 4 more years of productivity out of the 28-year-old if he's Julio Jones, for example, if he was 28 at the time. So Dynasty it's a lot more strategy, is a lot more involved because you have your roster all the time. You're wanting to invest in guys that are maybe younger and maybe you have more believe in long term. And there's always like rebuilding phases versus contending phases where you might have just won a championship, for example, but you have Julio Jones and Julian Edelman and Matt Ryan and Aaron Rodgers on your team that are all like heading out of their primes now. Maybe you want to tear your team down and get younger and rebuild this year and maybe compete next year or something like that.
For sure, yeah. And for more information on how Dynasty Leagues works in terms of the startup, in terms of the rookie drafts, again, that information is actually available on the draft guide where myself and Mikey basically broke down 2 separate 45 or so minute videos, just basically explaining how the Dynasty landscape really works for a lot of people who are used to redraft, how to really make that transition towards Dynasty and what to expect when they first start out. So again, if you haven't checked it already, I highly recommend it because I know this sounds biased, but that was easily one of my favorite videos I've ever put out on the channel. So pumps me up just even thinking about it. Cheers, Zach.
Yeah, we'll close out these questions, and then we'll head out of here.
100%. Trade Barkley. Give me the Chubb Godwin side easily.
Yeah, I'd actually take the Chubb. Like I really love Saquon Barkley, and I think he could be like a very, very elite dynasty asset going forward. But I think Nick Chubb also has that potential too, and I think Chris Godwin is going to be a top 10 dynasty receiver for me no matter what for the next couple of years, and then a 2022 first on top of it's just sweetens the pot a little bit.
The way I'm looking at it right now is Barkley for Chubb in a 2022 first. I would take the Chubb in the first side. And then Godwin for a 2021 first. I would also take the Godwin side. Yeah. So like either way you look at it in terms of breaking down the trade halfway, I prefer the Chubb Godwin side.
I'd also like to know where that first is. If you know where the first is this year, if it's the 102 or something, I might lean the other side.
Yeah.
But
if it's the 102, I would change.
If that's anywhere after the 106, I'd be easily taking the other side.
Easily. If I get DJ Moore, Chris Godwin, I'm guaranteed to win it all. Yeah, that team is
Zeke, Akers, Gibson, Wood, Judy, Chenault, Cooks, Mims, Crowder, and Waller. I'm missing that wide receiver one. Yeah. So I personally, because if you're trying to win it all, I think DJ Moore is the guy to do it.
Yeah.
Actually, sorry, I actually am going to backtrack that. I think Chris Godwin's the guy to do that. If you're trying to win it all this year, because DJ Moore might have a rookie quarterback. So like there's a chance he has a little bit of a down year this year. Chris Godwin, if he's back with Tampa Bay, assuming if he goes to a new team, maybe I would lean DJ Moore for this season. But if Chris Godwin's back with Tampa Bay, I think Chris Godwin's the more productive guy next year.
Maybe, yeah. They're so close for me. Like it's neck and neck. Like on weaker running back right now, have great depth at wide receiver and Superflex. You feel comfortable sending the 2021 pick 5 and 11 for Hilaire? No. Give me those 2 picks easily.
No, so the way I look at that is, you said it's a super flex. At pick 5, you can get Javonte Williams, who I would honestly take over Clyde Edwards-Helaire straight up.
Yeah, I have Javonte Williams one spot ahead. Not to mention, I have Javonte Williams as my RB7 right now, or my 107 right now in rookie drafts.
Yeah, he's my 107 he's my 107 as well. So yeah, and I have Javonte Williams currently right now at RB17. Behind Antonio Gibson, DeAndre Swift, and J.K. Dobbins, and just ahead of Miles Sanders, Clyde Edwards-Helaire, and Josh Jacobs. So he's a guy that I actually view as being better than Clyde Edwards-Helaire, even despite the elite situation that Clyde Edwards-Helaire is in.
Yeah. I agree. Again, like I would prefer anything up to even like if you ask me right now, the 108 or Clyde Edwards-Helaire, like that would probably be around the range where I'm like, dang, and I would probably take the pick, to be quite honest.
108. If I can't get Javonte Williams with that pick, I think any pick after Javonte Williams and Devonta Smith, I think I'd rather have Clyde.
Yeah, but if it's a super flex.
Yeah, like I anticipate.
Yeah.
So at the 108, you could probably get Javonte Williams.
For the record right now, my 108 right now is Devonta Smith, 109 is Jamar Chase. And if you kick Trey Lance down a little bit, that would be 106, 107. So that would be right around what
So for Clyde, I'd probably only be willing to give up the 109, 110, 111, 112, probably.
Yeah, exactly.
So you have the 111 there. I would try and you said sending pick 11. So I would send pick 11 and maybe just like a throw-in piece for Clyde Edwards-Helaire, and maybe he'll do that, or even just try the pick itself.
100%. Hot take, rather have Lance throwing the ball.
I would too, but I would rather have Tom Brady in the offense that they're going to have next year with all the chemistry in the offseason.
I'll be right back, okay?
All right. Well, we can actually sign off. That's the last question here. So thank you guys for joining us. Hopefully you tune in next week. As I said, we are going to have a special guest on for a 2-round rookie mock draft, and then we'll probably do another rookie prospect battle again next week as well. So make sure you guys are tuned into that. Subscribe, like the video, the live stream. Go and watch some of our rookie prospect battles if you haven't already seen them. Those are really fun to make, and I think they're really informative too. So if you have any questions about Zach Wilson in particular, or I don't know, Michael Carter in particular, just go watch the video prospect battle where we broke down those guys versus another prospect.
100%. With that being said, hopefully you guys enjoyed, and go check out the content because we're firing up that quality content every single week.
Recording more going forward once
100%.
Pro days get into full circuit and the NFL draft is nearing. We'll start kicking up the content as well. We're just kind of in a dead period before free agency.
Especially when I'm done school as well. Best believe those videos are going to be popping out much more frequently. But yeah, as Corey mentioned, we're going to sign off. Hopefully we'll see you guys.
He actually said it's the 104. So, man, I think I would take Barkley side. If it's the 104.
I would.
Because I think you're probably getting Etienne and Barkley. Personally.
Yeah, I would too. No problem, Davey. With that being said, peace out, y'all.